Hey my friends, welcome back to the channel. I am Huck, and the Alfred Hitchcock love continues, and I am on a mission, y'all, to plow through all 15 movies, plus maybe a couple of bonus movies that I have on separate discs, and give you my review of each and every one of them. And this time I decided to go ahead and start right at the top and watch Saboteur from 1942. So, what did I think of Saboteur? Well, stick around and find out. Alright guys, before I get jamming on this review, again, these are all my first time reviews, and I hope you're enjoying these, because this is all like a new experience for me, and I'm having a lot of fun plowing through all these Hitchcock films. And if you're enjoying these things, please do me a favor and hit like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that, and hit that bell notification so you get notified the next time I do the next Hitchcock review. I do all kinds of fun stuff here on this channel. We do every Monday a box office breakdown. Every Tuesday morning I do a live just to say hey to everybody out there, in case you're going out there on a Tuesday Blues Day shopping spree. Trivia contests and unboxings and reviews and stuff like that. So if that's your jam, please consider subscribing. Alright, now let's get to it, y'all. Okay, so let's talk about, there it is one more time, Saboteur. So Saboteur, it stars Pricilla Lane and Robert Cummings, and it was released in 1942, and the runtime is 1 hour and 49 minutes. So this film is about a young man who is accused of sabotage, and he goes on the run to try to clear his name. So in the beginning, there's a huge fire on this airfield, and it's a really, like, extremely well done. Like, Hitchcock has a really good handle on how to produce fire and smoke in his films. I know it sounds like a weird thing, but, you know, fire's very dangerous. But, and you think, too, like, oh, nowadays we get all these great safety precautions, but he was, like, using a lot of fire in some of his early films, and this one's no exception. So, I mean, literally the opening shot is this great black plumage of smoke just rolling in front of this almost light gray metal door, you know, so it really pops off of that thing. This is all black and white, so it's funny because everything I have seen, with the exception of Rebecca, up until now, they've all been color films. So this is the first black and white film since Rebecca. So Robert Cummings, in the beginning, his friend is burned to death. They both try to go put out this fire, but there's this you know, evil guy in there mixed. His name is Frank Fry. So Fry is the one who hands the fire extinguisher to our hero, Barry Kane. That's the one played by Robert Cummings. And then he gives it to his friend, who's like, hey, can I join the fun? And he sort of hands it off to him, and then sort of goes to look for another fire extinguisher. Unbeknownst to him that in that fire extinguisher, it didn't have, you know, fire extinguishing chemicals. It had gasoline. So as he attempts to put out the fire, he actually enrages the fire, and unfortunately it takes his life. So they think that Barry is responsible for it, because apparently Frank Fry doesn't exist. Like, he was literally infiltrating into this mess hall, because they were all having lunch, to, I guess, set this fire and cause this damage. And so anyway, Barry escapes, and he's still got the handcuffs on, and he comes across this cabin, right? It's always like a cabin in the woods, y'all. And it's occupied by a kind, older, blind man. It's a really good scene. He basically senses that Barry is innocent. It's one of these interesting scenes where he chooses to hear the kindness in his voice and thinks that he's telling the truth, that he's innocent until proven guilty. That's where he comes from. But then his daughter comes home while Barry's there, and then but he can also hear the handcuffs on him because he's got acute hearing, so he knows he's wearing bracelets, right? So he basically tells his daughter, I trust this guy, please take him into town, go see the blacksmith, we're good friends, just tell him I said this guy's a good guy. They'll get the handcuffs off, and, you know, try to clear his name, kind of thing. But things never go that well. She's skeptical of him, you know, she's not as kind and trustworthy as her dad, so she tries to, like, you know, she puts his arms around the steering wheel because he's handcuffed and he can't pull him off, and she tries flagging down cars, and needless to say, she doesn't quite get away from him, and then he's able to get his hands free, and then gets her back in the car, and they take off together. Car ends up breaking down, and they get on this train with a bunch of circus performers. And this is a really interesting scene right in the middle of the film. Like, you don't really need it, but it was a fun diversion, right? It's very cool. So you had like this guy who's called the Skeleton Man, and you had the bearded lady, and the fat lady, and the short person, and Siamese twins. You know, it was like, you know, your typical go-to carnies at the circus. And they basically kind of trust Barry, think he's okay. The police come, and anyway, so they hide him long enough so that Barry can keep going. And at this point, the girl, again played by Pricilla Lane, she plays Patricia, starts to come around and think he's okay. Now, eventually, they get snatched up again and find themselves back at this mansion, right? And it's this mansion of all the, basically, the saboteurs, the real people who are in charge. And they're kind of busted. You're just thinking, oh, here it is. This is the moment where there's no escape. You know, they're in this mansion, and of course there's a big ballroom party thing going on at the time. So there can't be too much. They can't just come out and kill them at the house because there's a lot of witnesses, if you will. But, you know, things happen, and people are taken, and there's this bad guy, Fry. Fry shows back up again. Fry sort of disappears after that opening and then reappears at the end. And he's really good. Fry is played by Norman Lloyd, and he does a really excellent job in this part. So the plan that is now happening again, like another sabotage, is to this new cruise liner has just been christened, and they've planted these explosives so that as the cruise line is going, it gets christened and then goes into the ocean, it's going to explode underneath it and capsize it, and then, you know, they'll have their ways, you know, they'll make their point. So once Barry learns about this, it's his job to now get on a tear, you know, and try to go stop them. And there's this big, you know, tussle and confrontation at the boat. And, you know, will he get there in time? Is he still, is he going to end up looking like he did it again? There's all that stuff. But the film it keeps going. I'll just jump ahead a little bit and just say it has its big climax at the Statue of Liberty. That's what makes this film famous, that it's known for, is the big confrontation between Barry and Fry on the Statue of Liberty. It's a really great sequence, very well done. I looked at the behind the scenes on that. Hitchcock had actually rebuilt the arm from about here up to the whole torch, and it was all to scale. So it's, you know, you can walk up and come out of the torch and walk around the torch and all that stuff. So it's a fascinating set piece. Let's just say it's a pretty spectacular ending to the film. So yeah, so that's kind of the film in a nutshell. I will say that the casting of this was really well done. Cinematography was excellent. The cinematographer on this film was Joseph Valentine, who had just previously done The Wolfman for Universal Pictures, and he brought such a great style and finesse to the cinematography of this film. I enjoyed the music in this film as well. It was really great. The musical director was Charles Previn, who also ironically did The Wolfman, and he did one of the Mummy sequels, The Mummy's Tomb. So he did a lot of work over there at Universal. But yeah, so I'd say overall, I enjoyed this film quite a bit. I wasn't really bored at all. I thought the relationships are... I'm learning the relationship status of the men and the women are very similar in most of these films. Hitch loves the leading man to be sort of the tall, dark, handsome, and the woman, he just loves blondes. Most all of these women are blondes. I've yet to watch a film where they're not quite blonde. I would say Julie Andrews in Torn Curtain was certainly not brunette. She was maybe like that sandy blonde, right? Not quite a full blonde like Grace Kelly or Tippi Hedren. So, alright guys, that is going to do it for this review of Saboteur. Have you seen Saboteur? If so, what did you guys think of this film? It's my first time watching it. I thought it was pretty cool, especially the ending on the Statue of Liberty. That is going to do it for now. Thank you so much for checking out this video. And again, if you are new to my channel, please get on down there and hit like and subscribe and smack that notification bell so you get notified the next time I do my next video. Alright guys, that's going to do it for now. So until next time, I'll catch you later.